Hi everybody, how are you today? Brian McNichols here from touringplans.com, of course. And we are here to talk about food and wine. Specifically, what your plan should be for food and wine, because we do love a plan, don't we? Food and Wine is a super popular event that happens every year at Epcot. This year, it starts August 31st and goes into mid-November. But you know all that already because you've already seen Angela's video. And if you haven't, go ahead and pause this, just this one time. Go back, look at Angela's video all about the details of food and wine. She goes over everything you need to know. And then when you're done, come back here and watch, because what I am going to talk about is the strategy. How to get around without having to deal with all of the crowds, and there will be crowds. You could also check out touringplans.com. Right below this video, I have links not only to Angela's video, but also the Touring Plans website about food and wine, including all of the 2017 menus, which will come up again later. Basics. We're looking here at Epcot. This is World Showcase right here. Up here is Future World. I cut it off of this map because we don't need it. All of the booths are set up. I don't have them marked on here because there's a bunch of them, and sometimes they change a little bit, and there are some new ones, and it would have just been a lot of gibberish to put them all on here. But basically, they circle World Showcase. And there are countries represented at Food and Wine that are not in World Showcase. Countries like Greece, like Brazil, Florida, which might not be a country. I'll have to check on that and get back to you. So when you are looking at the Touring Plans crowd calendar, which you no doubt are, for food and wine, you might notice that the numbers are kind of low, but there will be a note saying food and wine is crazy busy sometimes. And we'll get to more on when in just a minute. What you need to know about those numbers is that they are based on wait times for attractions. Food booths are not technically attractions, although they are very attractive. Especially like that craft beer one. But what we're talking about obviously are things like Test Track and Soarin'. And because Food and Wine draws so many people to World Showcase, those attractions tend to not be that busy. So if you are going to Epcot and you want to ride the rides in Future World, go ahead. Food and Wine is a great time to do that. A lot of people just don't migrate that way. And that is mostly what the crowd calendar numbers are based on. So how many people are there and when should I go? Most of World Showcase doesn't open till 11 a.m. Exceptions, of course, are Norway Pavilion. The breakfast at Akershus starts at 8. The Frozen Ever After attraction starts at 9. And there are a few other things that will open at 9 a.m. But most of it opens at 11, including all of the food and wine booths. So getting up early doesn't really help you for food and wine. What does help you is being where you want to be as close to 11 a.m. as possible. And where you want to be are the booths that get the busiest. Which ones are they? They're the ones that everyone has heard of the cuisine. France, Mexico, the craft beer booths, things like that. You look through the list, you're gonna be able to pick out the ones that everybody's gonna go, oh yeah, I like the food from there, I'm gonna go there. That's where you should go first. Whatever one of those is most important for you to test, because those are the ones that are going to get the crowds. Later in the day, to go to that France booth, you might have to wait half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, just to get the food and wine from that one booth. So you wanna do those as early as you can in the morning. And if you follow along with the Touring Plans blog, that's blog.touringplans.com, we will have stuff about food and wine and what you should and should not taste. Linked below, I mentioned I have the food and wine page from Touring Plans that has all of the 2017 menus. Look them over, see what you want, have a plan going in, and a budget. Because if you just start at the first booth you come to in Canada, say, and say, you know what, 4 of those things sound good, let's get them all and we'll split them. What's gonna happen, you're gonna end up spending $30 at every booth and throw half of the stuff in the garbage because you end up not liking it or people just don't want it. So go in, look through the menus, highlight the stuff that you definitely want to try, and then aim for those. Because there are a lot of food booths and a lot of food items, and you could end up blowing a ton of money or all of your Disney Dining Plan credits. The other thing that has to be mentioned with food and wine is the alcohol. Most, if not all of the booths serve some kind of alcohol. A lot of them will have have like beer flights, wine flights, whiskey flights that you can try. If there's a few people sharing, those are usually a good idea, a way to keep the alcohol level a little bit lower while still getting to taste everything you want. I mentioned that you should get to Food and Wine by 11. You may also want to leave by like 5 or 6 p.m. Two reasons for that. One, all the locals and the cast members that were working the day shift all come to Food and Wine, and they'll be there by 5:30 or 6 p.m. And they will be everywhere, and it will get noticeably busier, especially Friday and Saturday evenings. It will be packed. If you can go on a weekday at 11, that is the perfect time to go, spend a few hours, and then go somewhere else. If you are going to stay later into the night, be aware there will be drunk people pretty much in this area here. Epcot can get a little bit rowdy on a Saturday night normally. That ain't nothing on Food and Wine. Food and Wine can get downright party atmosphere sometimes. I do not recommend hanging out with small children on a Friday or Saturday evening during Food and Wine. But if that sounds like a fun time to you and you are going for it, make sure you hydrate. Even if you don't think you're going to be drinking all that much, still hydrate. It's real hot in Florida. Into September, October, it still stays real hot, real humid. It will suck all the moisture out of you. Make sure you drink some water beforehand, buy the occasional bottle of water. It will save you a lot of literal headaches. The last thing I want to mention with Food and Wine is that it might not be a bad idea to eat before and after, or at least plan on doing both of those. The walks between booths, the wait at the booths, the amount of money you might spend, you end up not eating as much as you feel like you are. So don't go in super duper hungry. Eat at least a light breakfast before you go, and then maybe plan on doing a dinner later in the day, especially if you're at the Food and Wine Festival from like 11 to 3. Maybe doing, a dinner at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night won't be a bad idea because you probably will still get hungry. Don't expect that Food and Wine is going to be your meals all day long. That's really hard and really expensive to do. I think that's all I've got for Food and Wine strategy. There's not a lot to it, but believe it or not, people don't go into Food and Wine thinking that they need a strategy. So hopefully this helps a little bit. Look at those menus, go in with a plan, get there at 11, and watch out for all those drunkies. Thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other.